Chairman, the meeting is now open if you'd like to call to order.
Thank you, Erica. Good morning, everyone. I am calling to order today's Postal Regulatory Commission open meeting to discuss and vote on the Commission's FY 2023 budget. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Commission's website. Under the Postal Service Reform Act, which was passed earlier this year, the process for submitting and approving the Commission's budget has changed. Before this change, the Commission submitted its budget request to the Office of Management and Budget annually. OMB then provided this budget request and the administration's recommendation to Congress for approval. Although the funds were appropriated from the Postal Fund and not general Treasury or taxpayer funds, the Commission was still required to submit its budget through the OMB process. This new postal reform law has changed the process, and now the Commission will submit its budget directly to the Postal Service governors for approval, as it did prior to the 2006 Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act. I want to specifically thank my colleagues, Vice Chairman Ann Fisher and Commissioner Robert Taub, who are the former head of the Commission's Public Affairs and Government Relations Department and the former chairman of the Commission, respectively. They advocated tirelessly and effectively for this change to the budget process and for additional funding over several years. I would also like to thank our current Public Affairs and Government Relations team for their work leading up to the passage of postal reform. Together, they brought us to this stage. Under this new law, the Postal Service governors have 30 days in which to act once they receive the Commission's budget. If no action is taken by the governors within those 30 days, the Commission's budget is then approved without revision. The governors may make changes to the Commission's requested budget by unanimous action, but those changes can only apply to the proposed budget total and cannot prescribe line item amounts. If the Commission approves this budget today, it will be submitted to the governors by August 1st. It is my understanding that the governors plan to consider and vote on the Commission's budget at a regularly scheduled meeting in August. At this time, I will now ask the Commission Secretary, Erica Barker, to provide a brief overview of the Commission's proposed budget. This presentation has been provided earlier to the Commissioners for their review and consideration. Erica?
Good morning and thank you, Chairman. Everyone can see my screen. So the budget of the Postal Regulatory Commission for fiscal year 2023 represents the estimated expenditures required to fulfill its mission to ensure transparency and accountability of the U.S. Postal Service and foster a vital and efficient universal mail system. For fiscal 2023, the Commission plans to submit a budget request to the Postal Service for consideration by its governors for $20,613,000. This funding request will allow the Commission to effectively align its mission resources and comply with the additional requirements under the Fiscal 2022 Postal Service Reform Act, or PSRA. This is the Commission's first budget request under the PSRA. The Commission enters the PSRA budget process with available prior year balances, as well as a funding award from the Technology Modernization Fund. As the Commission transitions to this PSRA budget process, it has reduced its full budget request to the Postal Service governors by applying these funds from its prior year balances and the TMF award. Looking at the budget table on your screen, this table shows planned total expenses of $24,479,000. Beneath the total planned expenses, you can see the reduction of approximately $1.9 million from the TMF award to fund these technology modernization initiatives, and the additional reduction of $2 million from using our prior year balances. The final line includes these offsets and reductions that will result in a budget request of $20,613,000 for fiscal year 2023. The Commission's fiscal 2023 budget request is primarily focused on maintaining and continuing the growth of the number of Commission employees to reach 91 employees in fiscal 2023. The Commission staff is the driving force supporting its mission to ensure transparency and accountability of the Postal Service and foster a vital and efficient universal mail system for the American people. As a result, personnel compensation reflects our largest expenditure. For salaries, benefits, and employee awards, $18,391,000 will support the current Commission staff, increase Commission staff to 91 employees, reinstate the Commission's intern program, fund our pay for performance system, and fund the inflationary salary increases consistent with the federal government. This growth will allow the Commission to build capacity to keep pace with the ever-evolving postal sector and effectively respond to requests by the Postal Service, the administration, and Congress. Moving down to the next line, for rent, equipment, furniture, and repairs, $488,000 will fund the Commission's lease and facility costs. However, notably, this amount is largely reduced by a large amount of rent abatements, such as for fiscal 2023, when the Commission enters the first year of our new lease term, wherein it successfully negotiated a substantial reduction in leased over this past year. For services and printing, $487,000 will fund both the Government Printing Office Federal Register printing costs, the Commission's transit benefits, and other recurring operational services. For consulting services, $3,571,000 will fund all Commission contracting and consulting. This line includes services and consultants that range from contracts for IT modernization, special studies, research, professional services, and other areas. Notably, this line will be greatly offset and reduced by the application of the TMF award and prior year balances to fund a large portion of contracting and consulting needs. The Commission estimates a travel budget of $131,000 to fund travel for Commission employees to conferences both domestically and internationally, the travel of Commission staff to postal facilities as required by the PSRA, and to support the travel of Commission remote workers to the Commission office. The Commission's training expenses are estimated at $191,000. This amount funds the Commission's staff training needs in their area of subject matter expertise, supports training on new cloud-based technology to improve the work processes of the Commission, and also funds Commission-wide training and development events. The communication expenses of $229,000 fund the Commission's internet and phone services. The information technology budget is estimated at $938,000. This amount funds necessary IT services, including services to support the Commission's docketing system, improve its cybersecurity, and meet the operational needs, including printing and software licenses. This amount also includes large one-time infrastructure investments that will be reduced by application of the TMF award. The last line for supplies and miscellaneous sets $54,000 to fund Commission subscriptions, office supplies, and other small incidental expenses. In summary, the primary focus of the Commission's budget request is to prioritize building capacity in our workforce, improve operations, and modernize infrastructure. This concludes the budget presentation. I yield back.
Thank you very much, Erica, for your presentation. I will now ask the commissioners if they would like to make any statements or ask any questions. Following the commissioners' questions and statements, I will call for the vote to approve the budget for submission to the governors. I will start by asking the Commission's Vice Chairman, Ann Fisher, if she has any statement or questions. Vice Chairman Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman. I have no questions and just very briefly want to thank you for working with me to resolve issues I had related to the establishment of a new budget and finance office within the Commission and to ensure measured growth in our administrative function. Thank you very much. This is an exciting budget after 16 years of being here and experiencing a flat fund and therefore underfunding for many of those. This is truly an accomplishment to move back to our old system and be able to enact this new budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. And just to reiterate what I said, thank you for your particular contribution to getting us to where we are and for working with me on those issues that you cited. Commissioner Acton, do you have a statement or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the office heads and all of them in general, but particularly Erica for putting together a really cogent proposal for next year. It's a lot of work and I think you've got a good outcome. I also want to make special thanks to you, Mr. Chairman, and our Vice Chairman Fisher for your hard work in crafting a bipartisan approach, which I feel confident that I can support moving forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Acton. Commissioner Taub, do you have a statement or questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As you indicated and my colleague Vice Chairman noted, this has been a long time coming. I do want to thank the United States Congress for recognizing that our experiment of entering the appropriation process under the 2006 law, however well intended, was not good for the viability of the commission. Indeed, 15 years ago, the last time under the 1970 Act that we received our funds directly from the Postal Service, we had received almost $15 million. And now 15 years later, we're simply requesting from the Postal Service Fund $5 million more. So we definitely, as we have made clear, we've been very careful on the use of the funds, but we do need these resources. The appropriation process didn't provide us the stability that we needed to do our job. So thank you. I'm supporting this budget because of the need of the resources. Also, as the Vice Chairman indicated, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for your response to the questions and concerns on the budget that were raised when we saw the material on the initial aggressive proposal on rapid growth to our administrative office and reorganizational changes. I deeply appreciate the Chairman's commitment to pump the brakes and move forward in an incremental way over the coming year. And in light of that commitment, I am happy to support the overall budget proposal. So again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Secretary, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taub, and thank you in particular for your stewardship during that really difficult fiscal period, as you pointed out, a period where the commission was essentially flat funded or worse, slightly worse. And so I really appreciate all the work that you did to get us to where we are and also working with us to refine this proposal in particular. Commissioner Poling, do you have a statement or questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Special thanks to our Secretary and Chief Administrative Officer, Erica Barker, and her entire budget team for their hard work throughout this new budget process. I believe that this budget provides the resources necessary for the Commission to continue to meet the challenges we face in an ever-evolving postal industry. This modest budget increase will provide long-term value for postal ratepayers and the American people by enabling the Commission to modernize its technology and processes and to invest in our most important resource, our people. Therefore, I would like to state my absolute support for sending this proposed budget to the governors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Poling. I will note that with this budget, the Commission is requesting $20.6 million, as Ms. Barker pointed out, and projects a staff complement of 91 in FY 2023. We use these resources to oversee the Postal Service, which makes nearly $80 billion in annual revenues, has more than 600,000 employees, and reaches every American. Frugality and efficiency are important to the Commission, and we seek ways to leverage our limited resources effectively. This includes modernizing our IT and cybersecurity infrastructure, a continued transition to the cloud, and slowly increasing our staffing of quantitative analysts and attorneys to continue our mission of providing transparency and accountability of the postal system. If there are no more questions or statements from the commissioners, the Secretary will now ask each commissioner for their vote on the proposed budget. Ms. Barker, will you please call the roll of commissioners?
Vice Chairman Fisher?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Acton,
I support the budget proposal. Thank you.
Commissioner Taub,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Poling,
Aye.
and Chairman Kubianda.
Aye. The secretary will now report the tally.
Mr. Chairman, all 5 commissioners voted in the affirmative for the budget.
Thank you. All the commissioners having voted to approve this budget, the budget is approved and will be submitted to the Postal Service governors for their consideration. As we conclude this meeting, I want to thank my colleagues for their collaboration throughout this new process. I also want to thank Congress for recognizing the importance of the Commission's work and making the change in the law to allow the Commission to pursue a streamlined process for obtaining its budget. This new process will allow the Commission to continue the role of providing transparency and accountability of the nation's postal system. The process will also free the Commission from the uncertainty that occurs during a lapse in appropriations or government shutdown. I want to thank the staff at the Commission who worked hard to prepare the budget that we approved today, as well as the Commission's entire staff. They have persevered and excelled through years of underfunding and never let up or broke stride throughout the pandemic, which has had an impact on many members of our team and their families. I look forward to sending this budget proposal to the Postal Service governors for their consideration and approval. And with that, thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. This meeting is now adjourned.